Some books, despite the passage of time, retain their vibrant life as if they remain eternally youthful. A famous translator once remarked that some works, even after decades, always stay young and captivating. This is especially true for the masterpiece, The Little Prince: A Fairy Tale for Adults, that not only moves but also leaves a deep impression on its readers. For me, it is not merely a book, but a profoundly emotional, spiritual journey. Each story, each character in The Little Prince vividly reflects the hidden desires of adults, prompting deep reflection. Though it appears as a delicate book with simple language, The Little Prince contains a profound message, serving as a balm for the soul amidst the chaos of life. By the time the last page is turned, readers will realize that the greatest wisdom often resides in the purest and simplest of hearts. The wind accidentally brings dangerous baobab seeds, and if not quickly cleaned up, the tiny planet of the Little Prince, 612, will be consumed by these giant trees. Every day, he must wake up early to clean the 2 active volcanoes and remove these threatening sprouts, or else his beautiful planet will be left in ruin. The baobabs bring life to his empty planet, calling migratory birds or shading the sunlight, but he still patiently clears them away every day. Our lives are also full of such baobabs clothes, worn only once or twice, but cluttering our closets. Dust-covered books on shelves, never read, or forgotten discounted items in the corner of a room. Every time you buy a new item, the impulse to consume starts rolling. The Diderot effect shows that from the moment we own an item, we are easily tempted to spend on things that seem compatible with it, in search of an imagined psychological balance. You buy a new outfit, and suddenly the shoes or handbag you must have appear in your mind. You get a new sofa, and soon realize the living room needs to be redecorated. In an era of increasing material desires, we often forget about minimalism and get caught in a never-ending cycle of consumption, always wanting more, upgrading, and accumulating. Akirawa Mayumi, the author of The Minimalist Life, once shared that each time we acquire an item, we unconsciously expend energy on it. Life isn't wonderful because of how many things you have, but because of how much time you have to truly enjoy them. If our hearts are continually overshadowed by material possessions, we risk missing out on existing joys and falling into exhaustion and fatigue. To find the true meaning of life, begin by purifying and removing unnecessary things from both within and outside yourself. Before arriving on Earth, the Little Prince traveled through 6 planets and met 6 peculiar adults. The first of them was a king, isolated on his own planet. He issued strict decrees to his imaginary subjects. Sitting motionless as if nailed to his throne, clutching his scepter tightly, he did not move throughout the day. The scene frightened the Little Prince, who hurriedly bid farewell and departed. When the Little Prince encounters a peculiar merchant, the man does nothing but calculate, write receipts, and lock them away in a drawer every day. The merchant is counting the stars in the sky, treating them as deposits in his bank. He is consumed by his thirst for money and trapped in his work, living like a counting machine. Whether a king or a merchant, they are merely individuals ensnared by their obsession with status and wealth, much like us. They are falling into a bottomless pit where desires lead them to endless dissatisfaction. The greatest tragedy in life is when people become slaves to their desires. When ambition surpasses limits, we chase after fame and wealth like moths to an ever-burning flame. As a result, we are left exhausted and drained, with no time to experience and appreciate the true values on our path. At that moment, the meaning of life becomes distant and forgotten. One significant lesson from the Little Prince's journey on Earth is to let go of unworthy relationships. When he lands in a desolate desert with only his own echo as company, he pours his heart into connecting with those around him, from a venomous snake to a railway worker and a deceitful salesman. Each time, he is disappointed, realizing that these cold-hearted people care only for their own gain. However, a miracle happens when he meets a fox. The fox reveals to the little prince that true values cannot be seen with the eyes, but can only be felt with the heart. Rare moments of genuine connection can dispel the deep loneliness within. Have you ever felt adrift in superficial social relationships, like the little prince? When feeling lonely, I often search for a friend to talk to, but when I scroll through my contacts, I quietly turn off my phone. Friends who once shared meals and fun with me now seem like strangers. Over time, we realize that the number of people who can truly be lifelong friends is very small. Instead of blindly expanding our social circle, focus your energy on those who truly matter. A few sincere friends are always more valuable than countless superficial acquaintances. The bitter exhaustion from parting with the fox weighs heavily on the little prince, making him feel as if he's being burned. The sandstorm sweeps away all his strength, and he refuses to open his eyes. A few days later, he encounters a pilot stranded in the desert who has been consumed by worry for 8 days. The pilot's mind is plagued by images of dire situations. The engine can't be repaired, flights are delayed, and whether there will be enough water to last until tomorrow. As the water supply dwindles, the pilot collapses, succumbing to a high fever. But in contrast to the pilot's despair, the little prince remains calm. He optimistically searches for water and talks with the pilot about fascinating journeys under the starry sky. While the pilot is on the brink of giving up, the little prince finds a water source, helping both of them escape danger. Life is much the same. We are often attacked by two arrows, one from the external world with its difficulties and failures. The second arrow isn't from the outside, but from the negative emotions we create ourselves. When your mind is troubled by negative thoughts, this arrow is ready to strike at you. Psychologist Adler pointed out that we don't live in an objective world, but in our subjective world, where everything has its own meaning. If you stay calm, your world will be peaceful and clear. On the contrary, if you're caught up in excessive thoughts, your world will be filled with difficulties and dangers. Often, suffering doesn't come from someone outside, but from the obsessions haunting you. The Little Prince is not only a satirical work, but also a lesson on how to establish and maintain relationships with others and with ourselves. We begin as little princes, but gradually, life complicates us with desires, fame, wealth, and status. We turn ourselves into kings, merchants, or pilots. As the author said, all grown-ups were once children, though few of them remember it. When you truly understand this book, you will realize that the issue is not the complex situations, but our own complex minds. Simplifying life from complexities is challenging and requires patience and mindfulness. But only by letting go of excessive ambitions and thoughts can you return to your true self. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it helpful, don't forget to hit like, share it with those who need it, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with future videos. With Inspire Reads, let's free ourselves from chaos, live simply, and touch the true essence of our own selves.